Hi, I'm Ryan Bolter.
And I'm Georgina.
And today we're interviewing Beverly Parish, George McLean and Beth Hume on their jobs at WSP.
Can you tell us what WSP does?
Yes, WSP is an international multidisciplinary engineering and environmental consultancy. We have around 10,000 people worldwide, present in about 35 countries across the globe. And we effectively are design engineers. We're working on the Freedom Towers in New York, the Shard in London, and at the same time we'll be doing things like the Stockholm Underground, or we're doing the longest electricity grid connection between Beaulieu and Denny in Scotland.
What do you see as the future for this kind of work?
Well, obviously we're involved in property, infrastructure and so on, and with the development of perhaps less developed countries, we're doing a lot more work in places like India and China, where there's a lot more need for infrastructure to be built, such as roads, bridges, factories. There's always going to be a need for people with construction skills and environmental skills.
What kind of jobs do you have available for young people?
Well, we offer a broad range of opportunities. We currently have a civil engineering apprentice who we'll perhaps talk to later. There's a position for an apprentice for business administration open at the moment. We have opportunities for people interested in environmental consultancy. We have people who work in our marketing team, who prepare all our materials and help us to face the market and face our clients. So there's a whole range of things that people can do at WSP.
So how would a young person find out about what kind of vacancies you have?
Basically, we recruit in all different ways. We'll get somebody sending a CV and we'll say, oh, that looks interesting. We may advertise positions, as I say, on our website. We go through the Leeds colleges for apprenticeships. So there's a whole different mix of things. There's no one straightforward application process.
So what questions would you ask a young person in an interview?
I think it depends obviously on the position, but we'd certainly be asking about people's qualifications and the perhaps depth of understanding they have in engineering. But really, we're looking for enthusiasm in those subjects. We want people to really enjoy the subject that they're studying, because that brings enthusiasm and innovation to what we do. A lot of the things that we come up with have to be outside the box, things that have never been done before. For example, there was lots that done on the Shard that had never been attempted before in the UK. So it's about people, in order to be able to bring those ideas to the table, you have to be enthusiastic about what you do and about the subject.
That's all the questions. Thank you very much.
Delighted. Thanks for coming in.
How did you get into the apprenticeship you're in at the moment?
Well, I was at university and decided that it wasn't really for me, and I went and looked on the National Apprenticeship website, and I was searching through there for a few days and then eventually found this job now. And how did I get the job? When I was searching on the National Apprenticeship website, I noticed the job, I looked at what company it was, did a few days research and actually compiled a portfolio, and I spent about a week or so doing that, and then came in for the interview.
What qualifications and skills do you feel you need for this apprenticeship?
I'd say a good range of GCSEs, at minimum of 5A to C, be a good communicator, friendly, upbeat, just an all-rounder really.
What are the good things and, if any, the not so good things about this apprenticeship?
The good things about the job, it's very varied. You're never doing the same thing every day. I would like to be out on site a bit more, but obviously that comes with experience.
What opportunities do you see for moving on in your career?
At work, there are quite a few training schemes, and just accept them all. Just do as many as you can, make you a more rounded person.
And finally, what are your ambitions for the future?
My ambitions for the future, I would hope that WSP would offer me employment once my apprenticeship has finished, and hopefully progress further and gain some more qualifications whilst I'm here, potentially a degree.
Well, thanks very much for talking to us. That's all our questions.
You're welcome.
So how did you get into the job?
After leaving school, I started a degree in physics at Manchester University, and at the end of my second year at university I did some work experience at a nuclear power plant. But while I was there I did some work with some of the environmental managers and discovered that I enjoyed that side of it more. So after finishing my degree in physics, I did a master's in pollution and environmental control, again at Manchester University. As part of that you do a 3-month project which you can do with a company, and during a careers day I spoke to a few different consultants and asked them whether I'd be able to do it within their companies. One of those consultants was WSP.
And what does your job involve on a day-to-day basis?
Remediation is cleaning up the ground of pollution. So there are a lot of historic sites around Leeds and around the country which have problems associated with oil that's been spilt in the past or metals that have come out of old processes. And those chemicals in the ground present a risk to humans and present a risk to the groundwater. So we assess the ground, do testing to find out what the risk is, and then we put measures in place to either take out those contaminants or manage them, turn them into something that's less harmful.
What qualifications and skills do you feel you need?
You generally need to have a degree, and most people get a master's either straight after their degree or with WSP once they join. But the main skills that you need to have is to be really flexible, to be able to think on your feet. The environment, it's very difficult to predict exactly how it's going to behave, so you never quite know what you're going to find when you get there, and so you have to learn to adapt and to get the best information out of the environment that you're working in so that you can put in the best procedures.
What are the good things about your job?
I'm a very active person, both at work and outside of work, so I tend to get bored quite easily. In my job, you never do the same things twice. You're never on the same projects twice. All the projects are different. You work with a lot of different people, and we have people within the business who have so many different skills and you have to work with in different ways, so you generally never get bored. I suppose the downside of that is that it can be very hectic. Sometimes you might finish at 5 o'clock, and sometimes when there's a project needs to be coming in, you might be working late, or you might be finishing on a Friday night in Scunthorpe when you're meant to be going out with your friends in Leeds. So again, it's that flexibility that you need to have to work here.
What opportunities do you see for moving on in your career?
Well, working within WSP, you're surrounded by people who you would love to look like in 20 years' time. The people who I respect the most are the people who are really technically competent. You ask them a question and they've got such a wide bank of experience to look at that they seem to just know it and understand sites without even seeming to think about it. So for me, that's something that I aspire to more than a specific job title or a specific wage salary. I'd hope that I will always be interested in what I'm doing, and that for me is far more important than the actual position that I get to. So I'd also like to work abroad and see a bit more of the world, but it looks like there should be some opportunities within WSP to do that. So.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure.